topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we always bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, this is our second show for this month for Provise Management Group, one of our long-standing shows. And today, I even have my own question. Good morning, Ray Ferrara.
Steve, good morning. Happy Monday to you as always.
Yes. Hey, all of our shows are Happy Monday, aren't they?
They are indeed.
So, Ray, I got to ask you, what is the difference between crude oil futures and West Texas oil? What do we go by?
Well, it depends on who's buying and who's selling. First of all, to your question relative to futures, that is people that are betting on the price of oil at some time in the future, not today. That's not the price of oil necessarily today. And given the turmoil of the last 6 or 7 weeks in the Middle East, the current price of oil has fluctuated wildly. And so those are two different things. It's rare that we will see, when I say we, the public in general, will see the future prices. Well, what we're more concerned about is what's the current price. And that more than anything else is what will dictate gasoline prices going up and down, diesel prices going up and down, all of the carbon energy prices, moving. And now there are two different prices that you see all of the time, and the West Texas price is really the price of most of the oil here in the United States is based off of that. Where the other, what you hear, is kind of the worldwide price of what oil is selling for that's coming out of the Middle East. One of the reasons for the difference in price is the cost of transportation. When you've got to put it on a ship, sail it, 5,000 miles, and take it off a ship and give it to a refinery, there's an additional cost that's involved in all of that. And so while the oil itself is trading at a price, in addition to all of that, you have the additional transportation costs that are involved with that. So, and many of these contracts are paying the price at delivery, not at the pump, or not coming out of the ground specifically. So that's kind of the difference between the two. One of the things that's good for us is we today are energy efficient and more efficient, I should say, and we're energy independent. We actually have enough carbon fuel to continue to support the United States in the advent of a severe shortage. And a lot of people, Steve, are asking, well, if we've got all this independence, et cetera.
Yes.
Okay. Why aren't we just charging ourselves a lower price? And that's because oil and gas are commodities, and they trade on worldwide basis, not just on local currency basis. So that's what's happening. right now.
Yeah, that's, you know what, Ray, when people saw that your show's coming on today, they all, I don't know, I guess the president needs to stop saying that we have plenty of oil because they look at the gas prices and, you know, I'm here in Southeast Florida, you're in Southwest Florida, and every day there's new prices and it
Yep.
goes up 15 cents, 20 cents, goes down 5 cents, and people are so confused on what's happening.
Yeah, no question about it. I filled up on Friday. It was $4.60 for the high octane fuel that my car requires. But if I'd waited until Saturday, I would have gotten it for about 25 cents a gallon less. Prices
Wow.
went down. Prices went down. But they're probably back up this morning with the straits closed once again.
Well, you know, I wanted to get that in. I've been looking at your YouTube numbers, and they keep going up every month. I'm wondering, still a lot of people who don't know what Provise Management Group, though you've been with us for about 5 years. Tell people about your company.
Provise Management is a 40-year-old firm this year that is a financial planning firm first and foremost. We are investing on behalf of our roughly 1,200 clients about $2 billion. But we think investing is a subset of a financial plan, just like estate planning, retirement planning, education planning. All of those are subsets of a financial plan. So we believe in financial planning first, and then once we have a good idea as to what the goals and objectives are, then we can invest the money better. As I said, we're serving about 1,200 clients. They're scattered over 30 some states. We have 14 wonderful advisors, all of whom are certified financial planners, CFP professionals. And the importance there, just as Provise has been since we first became a registered investment advisor with the SEC back in 1988. We work at a fiduciary standard of care, which means we have to put the client's interests ahead of our own. We sell virtually no product. There's a little bit of term insurance that we sell. But other than that, we don't do very much in the way of selling stuff. We advise and provide advice to our clients, not stuff that they need to buy and waste their money on.
Well, I got to tell you, Ray, speaking of advice, you're going to hate me saying this, but our 4 or 5 years together, Ray, I got to tell you, we've gotten questions from our audience. I've had questions, and I got to tell you, your response has been so right on. I know you hate me saying that, but I got to tell you, I so appreciate that we have an expert that can give us reliable information. And I can't thank you enough for your input that you give this show.
Well, Stephen, you're very kind to say that. I think it's really important to be factual, unemotional, but forthright with the advice that we give to our clients and to those that listen to our show. I'm not going to hype anything, but I'm going to make sure that people get good facts, unemotional, so that they can make good financial decisions. Easy to talk about how great we are, and thank you for saying it. We retain about 97% of our clients year over year, and that includes those that pass away. So we've got very satisfied clients, as demonstrated by those numbers. And speaking of that, we're always looking for more. So if anybody who's listening would like to become a part of the Provise family, all you have to do is give us a call at 1-800-633 3049. That's 800-633-3049. We offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation in our Clearwater or Tampa offices. And for those that are outside of the area where our offices are, we all know how to use Zoom now or Teams. So we're more than happy to conduct that. Just give the office a call, tell them that you'd like to visit with me for 1 hour, and you will visit with me during that hour.
And Ray, we talk about, your show is mainly a Florida audience, but you have clients all over the United States.
It is mainly a Florida audience, but we do have clients scattered over the United States. As I said earlier, 30 plus states. Would love to have all 50, but we're blessed to have what we have.
Okay, so let's get to a question. Sharon in Dade City. She said, I have a large IRA and I'm 66 years old. I have read a lot about converting it into a Roth IRA, but I don't like the idea of paying all those taxes. What thoughts do you have about the wisdom of the conversion or not?
Well, Sharon, congratulations on having that nice large IRA to bring you some security, financial security while you're in retirement. First of all, the obvious negative of doing a conversion from a traditional IRA over to a Roth IRA is the fact that you do have to pay taxes. But paying the taxes are a function of timing. Eventually, unless you're going to give all of your IRA away to charity, somebody's going to end up paying income taxes on it. So first, let's just get that out in front. There's no way to overcome the paying of the taxes on it. There's a couple of advantages for you to be thinking about it, particularly since you're only 66. And that means you will not have to start taking money out of your IRA until age 75. Now, I know somebody says, no, it's 73, Ray. That's right, it's 73 now. But in 2030, it jumps up to age 75 as to when you have to start taking required minimum distribution. So you've got 9 years before you have to really worry about taking the money out. But in the meantime, since you're not required to take the money out, you might want to consider taking out enough money to fill up your current tax bracket, whatever that may be, and pay the taxes on that, rather than not take anything out of your IRA for another 9 years and watch a large IRA get even bigger, where the taxes maybe even force you into a higher tax bracket than you're in today. So that's where a conversion can work for you today, not to convert the whole thing, but to just kind of fill up your tax bracket. As an example, we had some clients in the other day. They have an income of about $150,000, puts them in the 22% tax bracket. We suggested to them that they take $50,000 out of their IRA. They would have to pay 22% of that in taxes, so somewhere around $11,000, and then convert the money now before they get to required distribution age, and move it into a Roth where it can grow tax-free as opposed to tax deferred. Now, there's one very important consideration, as you do this. The money that you use to pay the taxes has to come from other savings. If you take the money out of that $50,000 that this couple is going to take out of their IRA, that you may as well not make the conversion at all. And happy to share the math with you to see that it would make absolutely no difference, assuming you stayed in the same tax bracket. But another consideration is, by you have to look at a lot of other things. Will you increase the taxes on your Social Security? What effect will it have on your Medicare premium? What effect will it have on the $6,000 senior exemption? So before you go and anybody goes and makes the conversion, visit with your financial advisor, and hopefully they're a CFP professional like the 14 we have at Provise, and with your tax advisor to look at the feasibility of doing it and to get a good number that makes sense on both a short and a long-term basis.
Malcolm in Jacksonville, what are your thoughts about private credit programs? I have been in one for 3 years and it's performed very well. Should I hold or bail?
So, Malcolm, private credit has been in the news an awful lot over the past 6 or 8 months, and let's kind of look at what private credit is. Private credit is where a group of investors have come together and are willing to loan money to corporations, generally at a higher interest rate than a bank might charge. And why would they do that? Well, the reason is some banks don't want to fund companies that are not making money, where other investors are willing to take a risk that they will be making money at some time in the future. And a lot of these companies that have gotten the private credit, have gotten the loans from private credit lenders, were in the software industry. And with the advent of AI, there's a lot of people who think that software may become obsolete, or at least not as good today as an investment as it once was before AI. And so this put a spotlight on private credit. At the end of the day, it's all going to come down to the quality of the portfolio, and there isn't any investment advisor, and I don't mean like Provise, those that are doing the private credit, they're going to tell you their portfolio isn't creditworthy. But the fact is, there's a lot of strain on the companies that many of the private credit companies loaned money to, and that's what's created all of this. At the end of the day, the big players are probably going to be okay. The smaller players with a smaller portfolio, it may be a different kind of problem. So if you're thinking about entering into it, the most important thing for you to look at is what's the credit quality. The second thing I would tell you that's important, and that is that most of these funds have limited opportunities for people to sell. For instance, they may say once a quarter, we will let our investors redeem up to 5% of the total overall portfolio. And recently, a lot of investors have scrambled to either totally get out or to try to sell part of what they own in private credit. And that cap of 5% has been limited. And that too is added to the negative publicity on private credit. There is a place for private credit, we believe, in portfolios, but you need to be extremely selective and in looking at the portfolio itself and understand the limitations and trying to get out of it. Not knowing what you're in, I can't give you any more advice than that. But again, if anyone would like to discuss private credit, trying to convert an IRA over to a Roth IRA, just give us a call at 800-633-3049. That's 800-633-3049. I'm happy to have you have a complimentary 1-hour consultation with us, or we do a newsletter every 2 weeks to our clients and friends. And if you'd like to sign up for the newsletter, just email me at info at Provise, PROVISE.com, and we'll add you to the list.
And Dave in Orlando, he said, I made $100,000 a year and I want to retire with the same income. How much do I need to save to keep my lifestyle?
First thing I would say is that you're not living on $100,000 a year. You may be making $100,000 a year, but you're not living on it. You've got 7.5% of your salary that's being taken out for Social Security, so that brings you down to $92,500 that you're living on. You're probably also putting money into a 401k program, and let's just say that that's another $7,500 or so. So you're really living off of $85,000, maybe even $80,000. So that's the first thing I would say. But the simple rule of thumb that we share with folks, and I got to be careful with rules of thumb. That's why I would cut thumbs off if I could, because the rules of thumb can get you in trouble. It is 4% of your portfolio. So if you needed $80,000 to $90,000 of income in retirement, you would need to have something in the neighborhood of $2 million to $2.2 million saved to draw down 4% to get you $80,000 to $88,000 a year. So just think, if I've got $1 million, I can draw down 40,000, figure out that 4% withdrawal rate from there, and save hard, save well, and think long term when you do invest the money. And Stephen, I know we just have a little bit of time left, so I want to remind our listeners that we always offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation in our Tampa or Clearwater office or by Zoom. You will have that 1-hour consultation with me personally. And all you have to do is call our offices at 800-633-3049. That's 800-633-3049. And we will be delighted to chat with you about any subject that happens to be important to you in your own financial planning or investment management.
And Ray is with us the first and third Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern time every month. Ray, have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you. We'll see you next month.
You will. And it's hard to believe May. What happened in the previous 4 months?
Yeah, you got it. Hey, have a good week.
You too.
See you soon. Thanks, Ray.
Ciao. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.